Welcome back to Grid Drop. Today we're going to help you get faster around one of Formula One's most satisfying tracks, Japan. If you enjoy this video, feel free to leave any feedback or questions in the comment section or in my Discord, which is linked in the description. That being said, let's get right into it. This video will be broken down into 5 sections: car setup, Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, and finally a full lap. These sections are all equally important, so stay tuned to the end of the video if you really want to improve. So here's the setup I run at Suzuka. Feel free to pause the video and screenshot this if you want to try out this setup on your own. This setup prioritizes front end grip and rotation while balancing minimal drag for the straights. As a disclaimer, the setup is a general baseline for you to start with and applies to both hot laps and a race. I recommend doing a few laps with this setup and tweaking it to fit your own style. Into the first corner, watch for the meter boards on the left. Just before you reach the 50 meter board, start turning into the corner, but don't brake just yet. Staying flat out, aim for this inside curb on the right. The goal here is to make a decently straight line upon turning in, so once you're at the apex of this curb, your car should be facing directly at this outside curb on the left. Now, after hitting the apex and the car is swaying out towards this left curb, watch for where this curb ends on the right. You want to brake exactly at this point. Again, where the curb ends on the right. Braking here should be a quick jab to about 75% pressure, as you aren't really in a straight line, so locking up is possible with 100% braking. However, immediately after hitting 75% brake pressure and downshifting a few times, get back on the power. You maintain grip through this corner, so keeping a minimum power input is extremely important for lap time. The line through this corner is to hit the outside curb, or at least get close to it, and once you're there, put the power down once pulling back into the right and up this slight hill. You can be a little more aggressive with the power here than you think, and although spinning is possible, it's not likely. By the time you're at the apex and the corner starts to open up a little bit more, you should be at full throttle again. Naturally let your car sway to the left side of the track now and use all of the exit curb on the left. This one is completely safe. Now, flat out move towards the right side of the track as the next corner is a left. At the right side, watch this inside curb and aim to turn in accordingly. There isn't really a specific reference point for this, you just need to watch the corner and let hand-eye coordination do the rest. Upon turning in here, stay completely flat out. Try to avoid touching this inside curb, and for the rest of these upcoming S's, the same rule applies. Pretty much all of these upcoming curbs will spin you out, so the goal is to get as close as you can to the apex, but never actually make contact with the curb. Anyway, once pulled into the apex for this first left-hander, immediately shift your focus to this upcoming right. Start pulling towards this right curb, and just before the curb begins, you want a slight application of the brakes and a single downshift. The braking here is about 25%, and I actually don't take my foot off the gas while braking. Here, I like to brake the 25% and keep at least 50% throttle. As you do this, aim to stick close to this inside curb, and at the apex, increase to full throttle. Similar to turn 1, keeping steady throttle input through these corners helps with stability and lap time. Exiting now, the car will naturally sway to the left. Once on the left, pull back as far right as you can before the next corner, as a straighter entry into these next 2 corners is better. Once in the middle of the track, pull into the left and again, remain flat out. If you start to understeer a bit or had a bad entry, a slight lift of the throttle may be necessary, but with the proper line, full throttle is completely possible. Again, avoid this inside curb, and this corner will spit you out closer to the right side of the track. Obviously, for a right-hand corner, you want to enter from the left side of the track, as it gives you a better and straighter run through the corner. However, when closer to the right, it means you have to brake a little bit more. For this corner, brake about a car length beyond where this curb starts on the right. Again, I brake about 25% here, but this time I stay on the brake just slightly longer. Similar to the last right-hander, continue to have a steady throttle input while braking. Again, coasting through here for even a split second can lose you a lot of lap time, so make sure to have a minimum throttle input throughout the entirety of the corner. Once exiting, you'll be naturally placed more towards the left side of the track, and again, pull as far to the right as you can. Around the middle of the track now, focus your eyes on the inside curb and turn in accordingly. Again, there are no obvious reference points for you to use here, so you have to rely on simply looking at the curb and letting hand-eye coordination take over. Aim to cut as close as you can to this inside curb and remain flat out up this hill, slowly swaying to the right as it opens up. You can use some of this curb on the right, but it ends abruptly and puts your wheels on the grass, so I like to get off of it as soon as I can. Now continue flat out around this wide left-hander. So that's a look at Sector 1, now let's see it at full speed. Sector 2 is a lot more standard than Sector 1. Heading into the first corner here, stick to the left side of the track and watch for the 50 meter board. At this point, you want to turn into the corner and aim to cut as much of this inside curb as possible. You don't have to brake at all here, and in fact, I just remain flat out through this corner. That being said, a slight lift while turning in can help improve stability, so I recommend that. Once at the apex, if you did do that slight lift of the throttle, get back on the power and let the car naturally sway towards this left curb on exit. This curb is flat, so it's safe to use, but get back on the track quickly as the next braking zone is approaching. For this next corner, you want to brake just before this curb ends, and here you want to hit 100% brake pressure followed by a few downshifts. It's easy to brake a little too much here, so try to smoothly roll off the brake and turn into the corner, taking a little bit of this inside curb and naturally extending to the left side of the track. On exit, it's important to note that taking too much curb can bottom you out, so try to avoid sticking too much of the car over this green section. Now, power down and head towards the next corner. Here, stick to the left side of the track and stay at full power as you turn into this right. However, make sure you stick to the right side of the track after this corner, as there's a hairpin left approaching. On the right side of the track now, I like to hit the brakes pretty much as soon as my wheels go straight. If you need a physical reference point on track to look at, you can watch for the small orange sign on the right. This may be hard to see, but that's pretty much it for on-track references. Under braking now, this is a standard hairpin. Shift down to about second gear, slowly bleed off the braking, and aim for the apex of the corner. On exit, sway to the right, and slowly, consistently increase the throttle, and as the wheels go straight, put the power down. Now, continue on the right side of the track, sticking as close to the right as you can. As the corner opens up, naturally drift a bit more towards the middle of the track. Now, as the corner tightens up to the right again, pull back towards the right and stick to this side of the track for the next corner. Here, watch for the meter boards on the right. About one car length beyond the 50 meter board, brake and turn into the corner. Here, you want about a 50% brake input and 2 downshifts, extending all the way to the right curb on exit. As soon as you're on or close to this right curb, turn into the next corner and brake as soon as you turn in. Again, about 50% braking and 1 or 2 downshifts. Stick close to this inside curb, and as you sway out to the right, increase to full throttle. Now, flat out down the straight. That's a run through of Sector 2, now let's see it at full speed. Sticking to the right side of the track now, prepare for 130R. This is taken flat out, so as you can see the curb approaching, turn into the corner and keep the throttle pinned. Naturally sway out to the right side of the track before pulling back into the left and watching for the approaching meter boards. Brake just before you reach the 100 meter board. This is a full use of the brakes, and shift down to about second gear while slowly letting off the brake. Once turning into the corner, aim for this inside curb, and you can cut a decent bit of this one. As soon as you're off this inside curb, steadily increase to almost full power before lifting off the throttle once more for this next left. Once off the power, turn into the corner and again, aim to take some of this inside curb. Coast on this curb, and as you open up to the right curb on exit, get back on the power as soon as possible. This sets you up for more straight line speed into turn 1. Now, as the track widens, stay towards the middle, then to the left, and then enable DRS at the line. Now, full steam ahead for the straight. So that's a look at Sector 3, now let's see it at full speed. Now let's take a look at a full lap. So there you have it, a full lap of Japan broken down corner by corner and sector by sector. If you want to see more track guides on F124, have any questions, or need more tips, feel free to leave a comment on this video or in my Discord. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.